Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers, Traders, Espresso with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 25th of February 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, we need to quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. There's always a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the FTSE100. Now looking at this 4-hour chart, last week the trading activity was, just to be honest, nowhere. And yes, we did close the week slightly in the negative, but for now we're going to remain very cautious. We're not going to start jumping in here into those sells because last week has closed in the negative. For us, we need to see and wait until we get a confirmation breakthrough one of our levels, because you can see that this index kind of currently struggling to kind of get out of this little range here between approximately between the 7,150 level on the downside and the 7,245 or 50 as well. You can round it up to, so basically this 100-point range that the index is currently stuck in. So for now we're just going to continue observing it and continue looking at some of these key areas of support and resistance. So for example, if we do see a nice good drop below the 7,150 level, this could potentially lead this index towards slightly lower levels, of course aiming for the 7,065 area, which was the low here of the 8th of February. And then of course if that fails to withhold the bear pressure, then further declines towards the psychological 7,000 level could be possible as well. So for now guys, certainly in terms of the downside, that's what we're looking for. I mean, it's for now it's a little bit tricky here with this index, and looking at the cash index right now, it's currently trading not far from the last week, from the Friday's close. Let's say it's around the 7,200 level, so that's what we're also monitoring. So basically, looking at this chart, if we see the index traveling above its Friday's, is that Friday? Yes, that's Friday's high. So yes, I do apologize, got installed here a little bit. So basically we see this one traveling above the Friday's high. Certainly this could be the first little sign that maybe the bulls could drive this one further up here, but for a better confirmation of the upside here, we'll probably wait until we see a nice good pop above the 7,245, or in a way you could round it up towards the 50. So a nice good push above that 7,250 level could potentially open the path towards slightly higher levels, and we do have the 7,330 area here marked as our next potential good area of resistance. As you can see here, back on the 14th of September and also the 12th of September, it acted as a very nice area of resistance. So that's why we could see maybe the price stalling here again temporarily until kind of the bulls and the bears figure out who's going to take control from here. But again, in terms of the upside, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for a push above the 7,250 level, and then we'll aim slightly higher. We're just gonna go step by step here because it's still a very risky market to be in right now. So DXY, another index, this one is the dollar index. So looking at this, I mean, I was talking about this one last week, and basically I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on it, and to keep a close eye on this downside resistance line, and I do understand it's a bit of a tentative one, but you can see that on Friday tried to push higher but kind of failed to travel further, and actually failed to stay above it. So you can see that the bears quickly took control and managed to drive this one lower, but still kind of we're seeing that it's today this level here that's playing out very nicely, the 96.40 area approximately there, this area. Watch for this area because this continues to hold the price from dropping lower. And of course, for us now, what we're going to look at here is a drop below this, of course, could potentially open the path towards slightly lower levels. And we do keep a close eye on this line, 96.05 area, not far from the 96 level, of course, but keep your eyes on that one. You can see that how well that played out nicely here, and back on the 5th of February and also on the 24th of January. So but we'll consider this level only if we see a nice good drop below the 96.40 zone. So for now, you can see that looking at this 4-hour chart, the index is balancing near the 200 EMA, and it's already slightly below that, but still we need to see that confirmation break before we can assume that this could travel further down. In terms of the upside, well, you've probably understood here, we're looking at this chart, we need to see a break. Initially, of course, we need to see a break above this a little short-term downside resistance line, but of course, for better confirmation, we would like to see a nice good push above the 96.70, and only then we will aim for higher areas, so like the 96.90, or even actually going higher here, 97.10, which is marked here by the high of the 19th of February. So that's why, guys, for now, let's play the waiting game here, and you can see that currently looking at this chart right now, it is trying to push lower. Let's see if the bears have enough steam to push this one further down. So keep your eyes on that one. Jumping into Ripple now with the crypto, as you probably, for those who are following the cryptos, you probably understood that there was a bit of a selling activity, let's put it that way, starting from the weekend and going into Monday morning, today's morning, of course. So basically, you can see I was covering Ripple in one of my videos, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little formation here, this rising channel. So this is becoming quite interesting. It will be actually quite interesting to see if this level here, if this lower side of this rising channel will get broken. Actually, if it does, then we see a break here below, then yep, further declines are possible towards these slightly lower areas, the 0.29 sorry, the 0.2915, or even actually the 0.2865 area approximately there. So of course, we're just gonna play it safe right now like this, because we're not gonna go and target much lower levels, because these two here, these two levels kind of acted as very nice areas of support back in here, back in, like I said, in January, and also back in December. So that's why this is what we're going to target initially. Of course, if we start seeing breaks here, then we will start considering further declines, but for now, until we're trading still within this rising channel formation, we're just going to be something like neutral here a little bit, because if we see a nice good push initially above the 0.3190, or even actually then above the 0.3260 level, now this is where we could start potentially looking at higher levels again, aiming for the 0.3545 or even higher. But for now, probably, guys, it's better to wait this one out and continue observing these key areas of support and resistance and wait for that confirmation break. Jumping into euro dollar now, this is a bit of a mess now. Okay, last week you can see this choppiness here, and it kind of, it was, to be honest, it was nowhere. It was initially pushing in the beginning of the week, pushing higher, getting above this 113.25 level, and then kind of managed to reach its 200 EMA, maybe just overshot it a little bit and reached the 113.70 zone. But this is where it kind of remained for the whole week, between the 113.70 and the 113.25. So for now, what we can do, actually, let me get rid of a few of these lines here, because they're in the way. What we can do here is, of course, the same story as with the previous instruments. Continue observing these key support and resistance areas. So basically, on the downside, it's still the 113.25. A drop below this could potentially lead towards a retest of the 112.90, or even actually going lower. But of course, this is, like I said, for now, we're just going to play it short and safe. That's in terms of the downside. On the upside, you can see that yes, the The pair is trying to push higher. It's currently testing its R1 of today's pivot points, and certainly if this continues to travel higher, then we will keep a close eye on the 113.70, which was, like I said, marked by the highs of last week. And certainly if this gets broken, now this is a problem with the upside here. If this gets broken, certainly yes, there could be a nice potential for this one to travel further up here to test this tentative upside support line from underneath. Now we're still keeping a close eye on this one, just like I said, because it played out nicely here in the back in the past, and we could see this one maybe the rate stalling around here. But again, for us, let's say, to get comfortable with much higher levels, we need to see a nice good push above the 114 level. I've mentioned this in one of my previous videos, and actually a few of my previous videos where I was covering the euro dollar. Now a 114 level, that's where we're keeping a close eye on, but even then there are some good obstacles above here. So basically, if you're looking from something from the long-term perspective, in a way, you probably need to wait until this gets above the 115 level or something like that, but of course that could be a bit of a wait here. So for now, guys, that's why we were going to play it short and simple. If we see a nice good push above the 113.70, that's great for the bulls, but again, they have a good obstacle around here, around the 113.95, and also around this this upside support line, this tentative, of course, upside support line, which could also kind of hold it from underneath. So basically we could see a test of it here, but this is where the rate could stall for a little bit. So that's why, guys, for now it's better to be very careful and continue observing the breakout points. Jumping into EURGBP now. EURGBP, also a bit of a messy chart here. Looking at last week it tried to push higher from Friday, especially tried to push higher, but this is, I was talking about this pair in one of my videos throughout the week and throughout last week, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 0.8725 level. So basically, when we got this break here below the below this 0.8725 level, it rushed to the downside, managed to reach this key area of support near the 0.8670, from which it kind of retraced back to the upside, and this is where it was very interesting to see if actually on Friday it would remain above the 0.8725 or actually going to close below it. So we can see that the pair sold off and kind of traveled all the way back towards this 0.8670. This is the area that we're going to be keeping a close eye on. Basically, a nice drop below this could potentially confirm a forthcoming lower low, and we could see this one traveling further down towards the 0.8655 initially, but if that fails to withhold, I'm just going to mention that this 0.8655 was seen as a nice good area of support here back on the 29th of January, so that's why a nice good drop below this level as well could lead the pair towards the 0.8620 area, approximately there where the pair found good support on the 25th of January, from which it kind of reversed and pushed higher. So so for now, of course, I'm not talking already if we would get a break here below this, but let's see if it actually gets here. For now, it seems that the pair is trying to kind of retrace maybe a little bit here. It could potentially travel and test the pivot here, maybe it's just slightly overshoot it, but if it remains trading below the pivot here today, this is going to be a bit of a worry sign for the bulls. And if you see this one reversing to the downside, keep your eyes on the 0.8670 level. A nice good drop below this could open the path towards lower levels. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's USDCAD. Now this one is a bit of a problematic one, and looking at this overall, you can see that we are still trading above this long-term upside support line taken from the lows of 1st of February, and last week we saw the pair sliding lower, especially on Friday. We saw the pair kind of selling off here, and of course, now it reached this key area of support near the 131.20 level. Basically, you can see that now it's trying to push lower again. Certainly this is kind of the US dollar is getting slightly weaker. We saw that on the DXY, but again, for now we're gonna remain neutral, even though yes, we could see maybe a follow through of last week's selling activity here, and maybe we could see a break of this upside support line and a break of the 130-120 level. But until that happens, we cannot really kind of say that this is going to just start moving lower and that's it. But we need to see that confirmation break here below the upside support line, and only then we will target lower levels, of course, lower levels like the 130.85 or even below that. And we do have some good potential areas of support here, which were tested back in November last year. So that's why for now, just continue observing this, don't rush into it yet. Let's see if it actually manages to break below the 131.20 level initially, and then of course this upside support line. If it does, then that's great for the bears, of course. But if this fails to drive lower, and if we see this one, the pair remaining above this upside support line, now of course we could see before we start considering higher levels, we would like to see a nice good push initially above the 130-160, and then of course we will target slightly higher levels. But this is the area that we're going to be cautiously bullish if we see of course a push above the 130-160. But if this decides to travel above the 132.45 area approximately there, now this is where it could become even more exciting for the bulls, and we could see this one maybe picking up the pace and traveling further to the upside. So that's why for now, guys, from the very short-term perspective, keep your eyes on this upside support line. A nice good drop below this could open the path towards slightly lower levels, but if on the upside here, a nice good push above the 131.60 could initially, of course, potentially, of course, open the path towards slightly higher levels. Of course, don't forget we do have some good areas of resistance, like initially, of course, the pivot here, which is around the 131.69 level. A nice good push above that could, of course, also just additionally confirm the potential move higher here. But for now, guys, this is where we are. Let's see what it wants to do with this area right here around the 130-120 and the upside support line, and then we'll just take it from there. Okay, guys, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. And if you want to join me later on my Traders Tea Time, and that's 14:15 GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful and fantastic trading day. Thank you very much, and bye bye.